This past weekend was the CKA Nationals. It was an online competition, as most competitions are nowadays, and I competed in the 32 kilogram long cycle in the 105 kilogram weight division. Now, we had the entire weekend to submit our videos, and I first recorded my set on Saturday morning, and it didn't quite turn out as planned. I didn't get nearly as many reps or last nearly as long as I originally had wanted to. So later that evening, I tried again. I got a little bit better, but not what I really wanted to. So regardless, I still submitted the video, and I got a message back the next day saying that because I was wearing my headphones, I had to resubmit. And it is indeed a rule that part of the uniform of, in kettlebell sport, in CKA anyways, is that you're not allowed to wear headphones. So that was on me for not reading the rules properly. So thankfully I had the chance to resubmit the video, another set. So I recorded that on Monday afternoon, and again, didn't quite turn out as planned. So what we're going to do now is go over every set, and we're just going to watch it together, and I'll provide some of my commentary as we watch along. So thank you for watching, and if you hear me grunting while I do this, it's because I'm currently stretching as well, and I'm trying to multitask as I do this. So enjoy. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, right from the first set, I knew that this might not turn out the way I really wanted, in a way, because the reps are quite snappy, I'll admit, but you know what, I didn't, well, the garage was actually a little bit warmer than I normally would like. I think I'm not sure if I left the heater going at this point. I don't think I did, but I remember the garage was a little bit warm, and like around this time I was like, I should have opened the garage door a little bit, even though this is like 6 a.m. in the morning. It was pretty chilly outside, but I thought it would have been a good idea to have a little bit of a cooler environment. Plus the kettlebells were warm as well because I was heating them up because they're in the garage all night long. So you heard that little as I lowered the bells. For me, that's an indication that I'm already struggling a little bit. That's a little bit of a tell that I have, that I'm really dropping it very forcefully. Reps look not bad. Like the jerks are pretty good in my opinion. Not that one so much, but cleans are my nemesis. I do not like cleans. I am awful at them, and I do not do them efficiently whatsoever. And one of the things that has been plaguing me for a long while is my rack position. Now, normally I have a really good rack position, but in the past, what I was doing in order to get a really good rack position to lock my knees out so I can rest ideally is to really accentuate my lordosis. So the curvature in your low back. Oh, look at that. See a little step I did? Means I'm losing it already. But I'm trying not to do that and not destroy my low back. So you can see now that I'm trying to have, keep a rather better low back positioning during this. But I'm not doing a very good job because now my knees are forced to flex a little bit and not lock out, and now my quads are prematurely tiring, while in the rack position. So the longer I rest in the rack, the more my quads are fatiguing, which is not ideal, which is one of the reasons why I'm currently stretching for hip extension right now. And you'll notice too, as the set goes on, I'm spending more and more time in the lockout. Like I am locking out for a long time. And I'm trying to actually spare my quads at this point. So I'm trying to really balance out in the overhead position so that I'm able to not contract my quads and give them a slight break where there's blood flow that can actually happen there, and give them a rest so they don't burn quite as much. You also see that my right arm on your viewing left, it'll appear, well, not so much on that rep, but oftentimes it'll appear that it's shorter. So like the kettlebell's not going quite as high towards the ceiling. Like there you can kind of see it. That's only just because of the angle. I'm actually a little bit more mobile on that right side, so it appears that it's shorter, but really it's just because I'm flexing much more compared to my left side. So it appears like it's unlevel, but really it's because of that's happening. A little hop back, not ideal. So I'm struggling pretty hard right now, and I realize that I'm not going to make it. Sorry for the cursing. The thing that I smacked was my air canister. So needless to say, I was a little bit disappointed with my performance there. So I was originally intending to redo the set the next morning, but looking at my schedule, it would have been a really big stretch to do that set the next morning. So that afternoon, I actually had the opportunity to be able to redo the set that afternoon. So I decided to warm back up, have a little bit more Vitargo, and give it another shot. So this is the next set that I did that afternoon. So I first did the first set around 6 a.m. or so. This one is, I think, 3 in the afternoon, roughly. So let's watch together. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh. Not sure my timer usually makes a sound. I don't know why it didn't make a sound in this case. So at this point, my garage is actually about a quarter open. Nice cool air coming in. The kettlebells are cool as well. So overall, I felt it's a little bit more refreshing in the environment. So I started out much better. So it is interesting watching yourself lift. You pick up on little nuances that you didn't realize you were doing. Like, I have a tendency to tilt my head towards my right side like this in the rack position. Not sure why, but I do, apparently. I also, another reason why I kind of wanted to lift that afternoon is, I don't know, I thought that because I was already a little bit tired, that intuitively I might find a better strategy in the clean in order to spare my legs a little bit. I know that it's flawed thinking, but I really didn't want to do this at the next day. I was running out of options, so I was trying to justify it to myself. But overall, the the cleans actually felt better to me at this point. I think because my legs are actually slightly wider. I purposely tried to have my legs slightly wider for this second set here. And so far, it was working. Like, I'm feeling relatively good at this point still. Still taking the extra little moment in the lockout just to spare my legs though. So you can see how my knees are locked out there versus in the rack position, not so much. Like you can see the muscle on the thigh, your vastus medialis, or the VMO as a lot of people call it. It's rather contracted. Ideally, that should not be contracted. Because when it's contracted, the muscle is squeezing, it's pushing down the blood vessels. Blood flow doesn't happen nearly as efficiently as if the muscle is relaxed. So that's one of the reasons why you want to try to be able to lock your knees out in the rack position so that you don't have to contract your quadriceps nearly as much as having the knees bent a little bit and now you're forced to contract your quads quite a bit. Wish I put a timer on this video. It's only a few minutes in. So I took an extra moment there. My goal in the clean, so listen, you hear like the little clanging of the bells clanging together. My goal is to only have one small clang. So listen. So you hear like 4 or 5 clangs there. So the way that I like to think of it is that if your technique is good, if you just have them clang once together and back up, it's a lot more efficient. But if they start clanging like this all the way through, then it's just hard to control them. There's more turbulence essentially happening, and I think that would help. That would tire you out prematurely if you kept doing that. So, if you clean one clang, they kind of stick together and back up, nice and smooth and efficient. But if they go boom, 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 then you have to like kind of muscle them to keep them together. It's just a little bit harder, more turbulent. So that's why I always strive to have one clang, no more than one clang. I have never been successful. Starting to breathe heavier now. Starting to get hard. So I'm about passing the 5-minute mark here. And that's where I crapped out the first set. So I started 6 RPM and I made it to 5 minutes and then I was done. This one I'm still doing 6 RPM, and now I'm just passing about that 5-minute mark, or 6-minute mark now. So I'm struggling more than I would ideally like at this point, quite frankly. But the lockouts are okay still. You can hear in the garage my family's coming back home. So that's... See, little step back, so shows you again I can pretty tired at this point. Technique is starting to suffer. See? Yeah. Yeah. That was right about 7 minutes. So, disappointed again, but happy that I got 42 reps this time instead of 30 on the first set. So, again, not ideal because I was really shooting for 62 master sport level, but you know, try to psych yourself up twice in one day for a 10-minute set, and still not doing the 10 minutes, but still, it's kind of tough. Not gonna lie, it took a lot out of me. So I called it a day after that. Had a good meal, showered again, and rested up. Now, let's go into the last video. So, we have a little Facebook group, friends and I talk about kettlebell sports and shenanigans. So I was mentioning that, okay, I can't wear headphones anymore. Can you guys just, we'll go on Zoom and you just watch me lift. So I needed the motivation because now I'm getting pretty beat up and tired and I'm not recovering as quick as I used to, when I was back in my early 20s. So, and I already had my schedule from my coach for the following week too, and I wanted to do that well, and honestly at this point I was kind of over this. I didn't want to do a third set, but I thought I'm already here. Let's just do it. So originally I was going to do this set on Tuesday morning, wake up at my usual 4:30 a.m. and do it that morning, but that Monday afternoon, I had another opportunity where I could lift. So I told the group, okay, I'm going on in like 10 minutes. Here's the Zoom link. If you guys are free, show up. If not, cool. So this is why in the background you'll hear some people chatting. It's because my phone is set up right below the camera and we're on Zoom together. So I just needed some form of encouragement and, occasionally just people cheering for me to keep me motivated and to lift. So now after, I was even discussing this a little bit with my coach, and you were saying that, okay, you know what, maybe just start off 5 RPM or alternate 5 and 6 RPM. So I figured that's a good call. I don't think I was going to be able to do the 62 that I originally had wanted. So here is the third attempt at this competition. Oh my God, I'm tired just thinking about this. Well, alrighty. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The app that I use on my tablet, I don't know, for some reason now it was working, and the seconds and the beat don't match up, so it's very confusing. But this time I remembered to put a timer on this video. And for some reason, too, my left knee was bugging me a little bit. I was running some errands earlier that day, and I was just walking at Costco. I'm like, oh my God, my knee is like a little bit sharp pains in the patellofemoral region. So that's why I put a little bit of kin tape there just to help me out a little bit. Earlier that day, too, I acupunctured myself as well. One of the perks of being a healthcare professional, I suppose, you can just needle yourself when you have the chance. So the first, this first minute, I think I started off at 5 RPM. And then I go to 6, then 5 and 6, so I was alternating here. That was a good drive. They look better. Cleans are starting to look better. Not ideal, but starting. This is one thing I kind of worry about sometimes because my belt is black and our team t-shirt is black as well. So, it's hard for the judge to really appreciate the fact that I am not indeed resting my elbows on the belt. I have never rested my elbows on the belt. So I hope they can see that, because I'm not gonna lie, I can't. But literally, I've never needed to rest on the belt ever. Just my body type, I suppose. I have relatively short torso and orangutan arms. So we call that, in climbing anyways, they call it your ape index. So how much more wingspan do you have versus your height? So if you have a positive ape index, that's good. It's a nice little indicator for climbing anyways. But in this case too, if you have like a long humerus and a relatively short torso, then it means you can really rest your elbows on your iliac crest and get a good rest. But it's also predicated on the fact that it's also that in combination with proper hip extension, which I am lacking. So 3 minutes here. So here we're doing 6 RPM for this minute. I'm pretty consistent when it comes to pacing. Like, you'll notice that my reps for 6 RPM is on every 10-second mark. So I'm always looking at a timer when I lift. I can't be like Kim Fox and just rely on my breathing. I am too inconsistent when it comes to that. I am not as intuitive as she is. I really need that visual cue for myself. Now the numbers need to count up. I can't do it counting down. Yeah, I'm good at math, but I'm, not when I'm lifting 140 plus pounds. So this next minute will be 5 RPM, so you'll see me lift every 12 seconds. So on 0 seconds here. Now my kintape's starting to fall off my knee there. I felt that. I'm like, oh no. 11, 12. And then I start to lift again.
Really good drive.
Thanks, Bobby. So I'm trying to lock up my knees. So to help you lock out your knees a little bit more, to get more hip extension, one of the cues you can do is to try to squeeze your bum, so you squeeze your glute muscles to get that little bit of extra extension. But for me, it wasn't quite working as well. You saw it too on that clean there too. I got a little hop. Don't ever hop. That means I'm already starting to lose it here. So yeah, trying to rest in the rack, it's not working. So I'm trying to rest a little bit more in the lockout position just to give the quads a break. Ooh. That was off. And that drop, you saw I had a little bit of a shift in my body there. Hop back. I'm struggling pretty hard at this point. So that's one of the things I do like about being in the rack, because you see there I took some really deep breaths. You can really breathe a lot more efficiently when you use your diaphragm and you take a larger breath versus mini short breaths. Because you have, I forgot the term for it, but like anatomical dead space. When the air is in the brachia here, you're not actually getting any oxygen exchange. You really need to have to get into the lungs, to the alveoli, so you can actually have carbon dioxide and oxygen kind of switch spots. So That's why when you have the opportunity to take a deep breath, you take a deep breath because you can get more oxygen exchange that way. Make a video. Yeah.
That was amazing set, dude. Insane. That was 100% RAV4.
The RAV4 thing is an inside joke. It's an inside joke. That is it. Those are my 3 sets that I did for the CKA Nationals. I'm not gonna lie, it was not fun. I did not enjoy that. It was pure torture. Oh gosh. But you know what? Honestly, it's a pro. I'm conflicted. I'll be honest with you. The fact that we can have video submission for competition, because if you're doing competition in person, you have a scheduled time slot and you do your set in that moment. If you crap out, you're done. Now with video submission, you have this huge buffer. You have retakes. And like, I like it because, well, I was able to, instead of my first set where, let's face it, I would have been disqualified because I was wearing headphones. But let's pretend I wasn't wearing headphones. I would have gotten 30 reps. The second one, I got 42 reps. And this last one now, I got 38 reps. So, you know, I went from 30 to 38 reps. So I was able to get a better score overall and a better result. But again, is that cheating? I don't know. I'm a little bit torn. I'm not gonna lie. Leave a comment down below. Tell me your thoughts. Let's start a discussion on that. Thank you for watching my sets with me and letting me just kind of process it and think out loud while I'm reviewing these and kind of observing my technique and things I need to improve on. And there's definitely some things that my coach and I are going to be working on from now on to help me, overcome some of these weaknesses that I have. I already signed up for my next competition. It's in a month and a half, actually, just over a month and a half, and be competing in long cycle 32s again. Hopefully I can shed a few more pounds before then, because I'm not gonna lie, weighing in, I weighed in at 104, so that was cutting it close. But anyways, thanks very much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a like, please give me a subscribe. I would appreciate that so very much. I'll give you a virtual high five. Boom. That was corny. I don't know. Whatever. It's okay. But thanks again for watching. See you in the next one. Take care.